Gotcha.
Oh, and then they're probably hearing the audio twice, so we're just gonna have to mute. There, now I made it not double play at least. I think. Who knows? Who fucking knows, dude? What? Are you okay?
Actually maximized a window that had a lot of different bright colors on it and blinded me.
Do you, I mean, but don't you like bright colors? Bright colors are good, right?
Yeah, they are.
No one can see you, Josh, but I just want to let you know you look great.
Aw. See, you know what we need to do is we need to find somebody that's going to really work on our production at this point, because I want my face to have the cartoon overlay of Carmel's drawing of me, so when I move, it moves. You know what I'm saying?
That's yeah. I mean, if we ever start actually making money, maybe, but that'd be like probably 2 years from now, 3 years from now, if we started making money this year. Unless you want to payroll it, bankroll it yourself.
Nah. I've invested a lot in this already. Bruh.
Oh, do I remember how to podcast? Will I remember to hit record on Audacity when we start for real? No, probably not. Oh, mega contributor. Mega contributor, dude. Mega. He earned that shit.
I gave Al a roll.
Oh, what role did you give him?
Bot.
Really? Oh, fuck. I actually got to start this thing. Oh, no.
Ooh, I wasn't even paying attention. I was trying to do something.
Well... All right, we hit record there. And what is going on, everybody? It is June 24th, 2021. This is podcast number 73. We are coming at you live from Detroit Lakes and Big Lake, respectively. We hope you were here for a good time, hopefully not a long time. So we'll hop right into it. But first, Walters, go ahead and rock us. I got to hit the setting. Oh, my God. Walters, go ahead and rock us away.
Welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix with your lovely hostesses, Garlic Johnson.
We're going to need to take a break here while I change my pants.
And Josh Mitchell.
Sitting here undefeated in everything I do, except fantasy football. No, I'm not allowed to handle crayons.
Not after last time.
Not after last time.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Garlic and Josh.
Fire that guy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of your lovely hostesses, the Garlic Johnson. We are always joined by your other lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. Say hi to the folks, Josh.
Hi, folks.
Nailed it. HiddenOaksOverdose@gmail.com and Anchor.fm/hoodpod are places you can interact with us. We've just started a Discord server. We're going to try and stand that up. I imagine it'll be pretty quiet during the summer, probably only lively during the football season, but link in bio, as some other people would say. Link in bio for our Discord server. You can also find out more about us and our league of record at HiddenOaksOverdose.com. That's Josh's baby. Segment start times are down in the description below for you audio listeners, and for you YouTube listeners, I figured out a way where I could make them accurate for you too, but it depends on if I actually want to put in that effort, so we will see. Thank you, Levi Oki, for all the beautiful illustrations everyone can see. At Levi Oki Illustration on Instagram is where you can find this beautiful artist and hire him to do stuff for you. Josh, been a minute, pal. How we doing?
Darn well. Had a visitor the other day.
Was he ugly or was he handsome?
Super handsome.
Oh, Josh.
Super. Yeah.
Was it your dad?
It's going well. No, but he left me something. I just got to show it off to the folks.
Oh.
Getting it out of the way early.
Oh, jeez. What a trophy.
Yeah, so I'm just going to do the rest of the podcast like this, if that's okay.
I hear that trophy is so good and so well crafted and so well thought out that it's actually featured on the Sterling Trophy website. So, yeah, that's not going to come in well. But Josh is the Dynasty champion. He finally got his trophy out of bumfuck nowhere, North Dakota, where T was hiding it for all these months. But
yeah, had to hose it down too.
She was dusty. T to definitely not maintain the trophy, so we might want to think twice about giving it to him next time. Maybe I'll just hold it for him if he were to ever win again, which he probably won't. So
I mean, I'm fairly confident that he used it as like a table leg to prop up a table.
Nemo might have chewed on it a time or two.
Oh yeah.
All right, Josh.
How are you, Gar?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for asking. Life's good. Sun's shining. It's not 100 degrees with 88% humidity anymore, so I'm not afraid to go outside and just be drenched in sweat the second I do. We were gonna do this earlier in June, but then someone had a bit of COVID. Josh, how'd that treat you, pal?
Well, I'm still alive, so nice try, COVID. Honestly, I thought it was allergies for the longest time, and then it's very possible that it started off as allergies, but transitioned into COVID, because when I did test positive, it felt like I got hit by a bus. I slept 36 hours over the course of 3 days. Didn't cough, didn't have a fever, just slept. Had migraines, which I guess is kind of a warning sign too, but yeah, healed pretty good. Got some antibodies in my pro body and ready to go.
Excellent. Yeah, I told Josh this story, and it's not a very funny story. It's just like a weird world ironic thing. So obviously last year we had ended all the pods, or I had ended all the pods with stay safe because COVID was happening, and there was a bunch of social justice stuff. But mainly it was about COVID, a virus going around killing people. And I think it was literally like the day, or maybe a day or two after, because I was making this note sheet a while ago, and I removed "stay safe" from the note sheet. I was like, "Oh, COVID's finally over. We're good. I don't need to say stay safe. Stay safe anymore." And it, right as I took it out, get a snap from Josh with a positive COVID result. I was like, "Sheesh, COVID ain't fucking playing, pal."
It's because you got rid of that, and I stopped listening immediately.
You stopped playing. That's what it took. Right after that, you're like, I don't need to fucking stay safe anymore. Guard deleted it, so we're Gucci.
Right? I licked the floors at the local hospital.
What's up?
Are we? Oh, we're okay. We're at Chit Chat.
Yeah, we're just at Chit Chat, dog. You got your
ticket one.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was getting to it. You got your tickets for Fast 9 tonight, or what?
No, I do not.
Why?
I work tomorrow.
And
if I'm not even going to say it. I don't know.
Go ahead.
I hope they do Paul Walker some justice. I was going to say I don't want to go see some like scary movie knockoff of a bunch of other good movies.
I mean, they already got rid of Paul at the end of 7. Paul died a long time ago. Like, it's been years.
Or in the movie?
Well, they didn't kill him off in the movies, but they like gave him he rode off into the sunset.
Oh yeah, I remember that part. But then I'm just saying that because he died while that was in post-production, correct? And they kind of added that.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah, I want them to do something. I want somebody to be out there just hacking at a palm tree, just taking it out. Because he crashed into a palm tree?
Something like that.
A solid 45 minutes of the movie, just axe to palm.
What is wrong with you?
As a tribute, they're attacking the palm tree that killed him.
All right. That is not the turn I thought this was going to take. I thought I was just going to talk about how going to the movies by yourself is cool. And I love going to the movies by yourself, but some people frown upon it. But I'm going to the movies by myself tonight to see this movie. But whatever, Josh. You just did that weird thing with the palm tree.
Yeah. Sorry. COVID brain. I'm going to use that excuse for the next 15 years.
There are long-term adverse effects of COVID, Josh. You're going to suffer with like blood clots and stuff, heart inflammation. I mean, sheesh.
Rowing's already taken its toll on me. So.
Oh, no. All right, we'll get right into it. Josh's life is hard enough as it goes. We'll hop right into the old FanTASTY zone here, Josh. The FanTASTY zone now brought to you by Skybusters. I don't know if he wants me to say Skybusters or the Skybusters or the Skybusters, but the FanTASTY zone is officially sponsored all season by the Skybusters. So thank you so much, Skybusters, for bringing us this fantastic segment. Josh, who do you got for some little snackies, other smaller sponsors tonight?
Well, I just wanted to, since he was such a generous contributor, I wanted to provide him with his tagline as well. So Skybusters, when they say the sky is the limit, we bust right through it.
Is that his tagline? Have you been working in marketing for him? Because I didn't get that. Maybe to text it to you individually, but
no, I did. I'm trying to merge my way into marketing if this state shutdown does in fact happen. That way I have a fallback plan. But yeah, no, Skybusters. Like I said, when they say the sky's the limit, we bust right through that.
Fuck that sky. But so that was his tagline. Do you have any drinks or snacks or?
Yeah, I have a Butterfinger.
Excellent.
Crispy, crunchy, peanut buttery bar. It's been sitting in my snack drawer for a little bit here because I knew that I had to save it for this. But yeah. And then I have a Spindrift pink lemonade, unsweetened lemonade.
Unsweet lemonade? What are you doing? Do you hate yourself?
Yeah, apparently I want cancer too.
Jesus. Well, I got one of my Al contributed iced teas here, the peach tea. I think this is can number 10, maybe can number 11. I don't know. It's low double digits, high single digits, whatever can it is. So I'll be popping that peach open. And then I sent this snap to the group today. The fight against diabetes gets harder and harder. I have a Reese's peanut butter flavored cupcakes. So, like the black and white cupcakes you can find at, any convenience store anywhere. These are Reese's flavored, and I mean, what are they doing to me, Josh? They want me to die by the time I'm 35. They want my blood sugar to be off the charts. It's just not fair.
They've stopped putting razor blades in candy and started putting cream filling in them. Those bastards. Cream filling tastes much more better than razor blades, just in case you're wondering, as a man who's tried both. So, all right, Josh, we should probably actually talk about football stuff, huh? This is a football podcast, allegedly. Yeah.
So a big thing in the offseason, that people talk about just for something to talk about is the big old June deadline. There's pre-June 1 and post-June 1 stuff. I mean, really that June date itself is a myth because you can just make moves and then designate them as post-June 1st if you do it pre-June. So like Kyle Rudolph, we cut him in fucking March, but we just designated him as a post-June 1 cut. So we didn't realize like the salary cap room until post-June 1. So Rodgers or Julio or whoever else could have been traded before June 1st, but they didn't. However, Julio did move. Did you expect Julio to go to the Titans? How'd you feel about it?
Maybe not the Titans until I saw AJ Brown's kind of recruitment videos. I thought that those were hilarious.
Sure.
So he definitely will provide some support for Tannehill there after losing Jonnu. But I do think that AJ is still kind of going to be that number one guy just because he has that rapport with Tannehill. Obviously, Julio is a talent, but he only plays 9 games out of the year. So
this most recent season is like the only season he's missed games. Your narrative is you're peddling misinformation, I'd say.
Well, I want to draft him, Gar.
You're trying to put his stock down a little bit?
Yeah, I heard he burns flags and whatnot. No, that wouldn't work in my one league. Never mind.
Jesus. All right. So, Josh, you're absolutely dead inside just by the fact that this has been drug on so long. But Rodgers, nothing's happened. Will anything happen before training camp?
No, I'm sure a lot will happen, but whether or not we can believe what they say is happening is a different story. Saw another article today about the 60% chance that Rodgers gets traded to the Broncos. And then like it said that in the top part of the paragraph, and then the bottom is, remember, this is all speculation. So 60% chance speculation. All right. Thank you, Sex Panther. But honestly, yeah, just let something happen. I don't care. Re-sign, trade them away for $1 bajillion. This offense can run through Love. It's not going to be ideal. Obviously, you want the reigning MVP, greatest arm talent ever. But this offense isn't going to be anything. It's run through the tight ends and the running backs. So, yeah.
Gotcha. And then I think you typed in the or Watson thing. Maybe I did without remembering. But Watson's not going anywhere at this point, right?
I mean, the latest thing I read was that he still wanted to get out of Houston. Something just he'd recently, I think Pat was saying that he recently showed himself working out again and posting on it in social media, which I don't know. He doesn't strike me as somebody who would not listen to a lawyer, but I feel like he shouldn't be posting on social media during this time. It just gives more people an opportunity to rip him. But it sounds like they're trying to drag on that lawsuit. So who knows if he even plays or moves or what.
Right. Okay. So, not a whole lot of football stuff going on at the moment. Or not much that we care about, I guess. First openly gay player, active openly gay player, Carl Nassib. Thought that was pretty cool. Good for him.
I put that in the notes.
Josh, you did it.
I did notes.
So, obviously gay people have played in the NFL before, but just no one was comfortable enough to be open about it. And then Sam Martin got drafted, but then I don't think he ever actually made a team or had any, real game reps. So, this is a big deal.
Yeah, no, and listening to Pat the other day, he definitely broke it down to where it, now there are people out there who, if they have somebody to kind of follow, it's not like that was Carl's plan to become the leader of the gay and lesbian population. I guess there's not lesbians in the NFL yet, but didn't want to be the leader of that. But he's definitely now kind of breaking through that. He's busting through that sky, some might say, to allow others to come out. Obviously, like you said, there have been former NFL players who have come out, but that's when they're not necessarily in the limelight anymore. I wasn't just going to mention him, or I wasn't going to do much more than just mention him. But I put him in there because I don't know if you've seen, do you have Google pulled up?
It wouldn't be convenient. It would slow my computer down.
Okay. I was going to say, if you type in Carl Nassib in Google, the top 2 options are not Carl Nassib gay, Carl Nassib NFL. It's Carl Nassib Republican, Carl Nassib Trump. It took less than 24 hours for them to turn this into a political thing. So
Marketing is outrage is by far the most effective marketing tool of the past decade. So I mean, that's how you get the clicks. That's how you get the interaction. That's what everyone's doing. So
yeah, but apparently he's a registered Republican. So there are people in the gay and lesbian community coming out against him now, which I don't know.
Stupid. I don't want to make a huge generalization here, but if I had to guess, there's probably maybe a couple card-carrying Republicans that heard there's a gay guy in their midst, and there's like, well, hang on a second. So I'm sure it's outrage on both sides.
Absolutely, but good for Carl for doing that.
Yeah, 100%. I support him. The next most interesting thing within the LGBTQ plus community would be if a trans player makes it into the NFL. That'd be interesting. Whether it was a girl transitioning into a guy transitioning to a girl, I'd love to see that. Probably not for another decade if I had to guess, but that'd be something really cool to see.
What about a clown car of lesbians or homosexuals? Sorry, you're setting your bar too low here. We want to go outrageous.
Okay, Josh, I'll let you go outrageous. One other thing I wanted to put in the FanTASTY zone, I've already mentioned at the top of the show, we're trying out a Discord community. It's a mixed bag because you don't want people's phone to be blowing up constantly if just a couple people are having the conversation, but it's also much more effective. So I set it to mentions only, so people won't be in there probably on their own actively. But it's much better than Facebook. Like I made a Facebook post this morning just advertising that we were doing a show tonight, and as of right now, that post has still only reached 2 people. And some people don't go on Facebook during the day or whatever, but it's like Facebook stinks to try and get to your fans. Literally the most effective way to directly communicate to your fans is via like a text campaign or an email list, and I don't think we want to do that. So the next best thing I think in the modern age is Discord. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not going to abuse the @everyone notification, but I'll definitely do it for shows and maybe one other time earlier in the week if people want to get ready to contribute to the show. But otherwise, I think that's just a better way to communicate directly. I don't know, you don't really do anything with our socials, but I don't know if you have any thoughts on such a thing as being someone who's on Discord or other social media platforms.
No, I think we can roll with it. See how it goes for a bit. Good opportunity for people to post questions because it is more convenient than logging into Facebook and finding a post. You're just open up Discord and go, oh, there's a couple cute guys. Let's see what they're up to.
Right. And people definitely, if they want to be more involved in the Discord, be more part of the conversation, you can definitely go in and change your notification settings to get, all the messages in the general chat or all the messages in the meme of the week or whatever if you love memes. But at a default, I didn't want everyone's phones to be blown up 24/7. So I set the default to be notifications only. And if you want to change that, you can go in and change it yourself. So, but the only person I can think of complaining about this would be Brian, because he's like, you want me to try something else? But sorry, Brian. Facebook stinks. Sorry, Josh, you were going to say?
Oh, yeah, I'm just throwing it into all my Galaxy Quest Discord channels.
Are you?
Yeah, there's only a couple hundred people in each of those. So
come talk about football with us. All right. That's the FanTASTY Zone brought to you by the Skybusters. Josh, what was their motto again? One more time? Their slogan?
They say the sky is the limit, but we help you bust right through it.
There you go. Love it. All right, Josh, let's move on. We just wanted to touch on this really quickly, no more than a couple minutes. The NFL draft, we reacted to that super fast, super hot, very sensationalist. Have your thoughts at all changed since the draft and the players you guys took? Minicamp also happened. Obviously, Rodgers not there, so J-Lo gets more of an opportunity. Devontae does show up. But any thoughts post-draft on the rookies or anything out of minicamp you care about? Anything noteworthy?
Nope.
Nothing at all, huh?
Nope. Nothing happened anywhere. Now, if Rodgers would have had some sort of movement, then we might have had an issue. But no, I didn't hear anything. I know that they tried to say that Love stinks, and then the second day they tried to say he's HOF, and then the third day I didn't hear anything. So he probably died. He hit all 3 extremes.
J-Lo is running the offense though, so they're getting a look at him when Favre would take the summers off. That's when Rajtown really got to show his stuff to the staff there. So this is J-Lo's opportunity to either prove himself worthy of taking over Rodgers and the organization can play a little more hardball, or they're like, God, this guy actually fucking stinks. We're gonna need everything. We need to do everything we can to get Rodgers back in. So it's a good opportunity for the team to learn and grow. But nothing out of like any of the other rookies like Amari Rodgers, or I can't think of anyone else you guys took, but no significant stories.
From what I've heard, they had some good depth. They're expecting Rashawn Gary, who's not a rookie, but he's a young guy who didn't necessarily do much his rookie and sophomore year. He stepped up last year. They're expecting him to contribute more on the D end. He was one of the most efficient pass rushers last season in the NFL, like up there with Donald. So good for him. He just didn't get the opportunities. And then Amari Rodgers has been compared to Cobb, but a more athletic Cobb. So I'll take that. I'm just hoping that maybe that's Green Bay press putting that out there. Like, yeah, this guy's like Cobb on steroids. He's great, Rodgers. I mean, Aaron, come home, Aaron.
Sure. Yeah, so moving on to the Vikes. Nothing too crazy out of us either. Kellen Mond was taking some snaps. I think the story that most fans liked was that we signed Patrick Peterson. So there was a story coming out that Justin Jefferson was like, verbally jawing with Patrick Peterson, saying like, I want Peterson, I want the best coverage, this and that. So it's just, it's something you like to see out of a hungry young wide receiver. Just a cool little storyline. I think that was very popular on our subreddit. So, that's fun to see. Ezra Cleveland staying at guard. It looks like we originally drafted him as a tackle, but it looks like he'll stay at guard, with Darisaw going out left and Brian O'Neill staying right. So those are just really, really small things. And then we'll see how Davis does at our other guard positions. So we did get one voicemail in. I kind of reached out to some folks, and Carmel hit me back. I also didn't follow up with any of the folks after reaching out to them on Monday, so it's definitely my fault we didn't get more in. But actually, I'll save Carmel's voicemail because I did get 2 messages from Eric. It's currently midsummer over in Latvia, and he is getting drunk off his gore. So here's just a couple messages I got from Eric. He says, senior correspondent out in the field for the Steelers. Tomlin proved he's the best coach ever by talking Haskins into getting a vaccine. A comeback story happening? ? Also haven't seen any TikTok dances featuring Steelers rookies, so I'm pretty optimistic about the draft class. So that's Eric's out in the field reporting. We appreciate you, Eric's. And then here's Carmel Bear, senior Colts correspondent. He left us a nice little voicemail here. Let's see what Carmel Bear has to say. What? Carmel Bear, you're a fucking gem, dude. If
really
anything ever were to happen to you. He was at Jim Irsay's house. You think he's been at Jim Irsay's house the whole time? Because he was there pre-draft and post-draft, I think. Do you think he's been there this whole time?
Probably. I would be. I don't think Jim Irsay is the kind of guy that's going to let him get out. So, but I do need to know how this Gatorade color change resolution comes to be, because if they stick with blue,
it's an embarrassment, or what?
The disrespect. Yeah. Everybody knows that orange or yellow is the best.
I'll have to take your word for it. All right. Thank you so much, Carmel Bear, a.k.a. Levi Oki, senior Colts correspondent, out in the field getting scooped inside at Jim Irsay's sex dungeon. We appreciate your hard work and your dedication. I hope nothing bad happens to you in that sex dungeon. Hopefully you like it. But if not, that's not good. All right, Josh, let's move on to the meat and potatoes of the show today. We're here to talk about our Dynasty League. Obviously, we drafted a month ago. We were hoping, or more than a month ago, almost 2 months ago. We were hoping to do this sooner, but COVID happened, and then I did a little traveling. But here we are. Maybe we can drum up a little more interest in our Dynasty League members anyways by talking about it later versus talking about it right away. They can be a little more engaged over the summer. So, Josh, we had last year we had Mr. Jack Vickers help us do a little write-up for the teams. I don't remember how many pages it was. I want to say like maybe 20, maybe 30. with some page breaks in there and like a title page and all this and that. And I thought I did a pretty good job. And so I was like, all right, Jack, since you already have established, you kind of know about these teams and you already wrote about them last year, let's kick it a nickel. Let's see what you can say about these teams this year, with some pre-draft thoughts and then some post-draft thoughts. And I don't know if Jack thinks he's the next fucking like Ernest Hemingway or something, but this fucker wrote 65 pages, single-spaced. How does he expect us to have the time to read it? My attention span is like 30 seconds for any one thing.
Well, I'll give everybody out there a spoiler. There's not a single picture, so can't even color on anything. It's yeah. I saw the when I opened it, you know how sometimes the scroll bar takes some time to fully load. I just saw it keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I was like, all right, there's got to be a bunch of blank pages or something. No, there's just all words.
All right, Josh, I hate to have to do this, but apparently Levi Oki's thing was played with no audio. Do we play it again now so the streamers can hear, or do I just put it back in post and the audio listeners can hear it later? What do you think? Because I fucked up.
Well, as long as you keep that comment in there, then I don't care what we do.
All right, I'll play it again real quick, and then we'll just pretend it never happened.
Hey boys, it's your friend Carl Bear reporting from Jim Irsay's Sex Dungeon, getting you the inside scoop while getting inside scooped. What do I have to say about the Colts that hasn't already been said during the time after the draft? They took a page out of our Holy Father's playbook and focused on keeping the family together, re-signing the family we have, and not using that ample salary cap on outside playmakers. What is surprising and more important, though, is the team switched from red Gatorade to blue. Why the change? Sure, blue reflects more light and gives the players a burst of energy, and you can't tell if they spilled on their jerseys, but why the major shakeup? Just like my abuela says, donde está la red Gatorade? Rest easy knowing that I'm going to get to the bottom of it. Now I want to... Oh my god, he's coming back. I'm sorry, I gotta go. Bye.
Ugh. Dude, that's why the cold react is so important. How we reacted the first time was so good and genuine. It was so funny. The blind react is huge. So, Carl Bear, you didn't get a good reaction the second time, but now the audio's in there. So, sorry about that. It's, summer. It's hard on my brain, so... All right, Josh, back to the Dynasty. So Jack wrote a fucking 65-page document. Did you actually even read this thing, or did you just make it up and you're just going to talk about these teams like out of your ass?
We'll find out.
Okay. Well, let's...
No, I read some of it. I read the parts that I was told to read. But before we get into it, do you want me to give you the rankings based on how many words each section got or each team got?
Absolutely. This is a very good data point. I'm here for it.
Like this is why people listen. So the overall word ranks starts off with yours truly, the Dynasty champ.
Yep.
With 5,098 words in my write-up.
Nice.
Coming in second is none other than the second place team, Derek. With 4,962. Connor coming in at third. Sounds familiar. Because didn't he come in third in Dynasty as well?
Yeah.
4,771 words. T comes in fourth with 4,001. Jalen, 3,676. Jesse, 3,572. Gar, 3,546.
Not last.
Kevin, 3,036. Brad, 2,991. Brian, 2,765. So if you heard that number, those are the number of words in a single team's profile. I don't even think I have 1,000 words in my write-up on it. And that covers five teams.
Well, that's okay. I mean, but the extra content, that's for, I mean, Jack is making this for the league exclusively. We're just here to like cherry pick some cool points for the podcast. We'd have to take 6 podcasts to try and break this thing down. So you gotta leave the listeners wanting more. You want to go, Brian, to go, well, what fucking, of those 3,000 words or whatever, what do you say? So
Brian, you don't want to know. Moving on. So I guess I could start because your team was number 1 on the document, correct?
Yeah, we'll just go back and forth. So I ordered these, so I gave this all to Jack with no names or anything, so he didn't know who the teams were. He could have inferred if you remember from last year. It sounds like he wasn't smart enough to do so. So he just graded all these teams based in draft order. I just numbered them and took all their identifiers away. So yeah, we'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way down to 10, and we'll go every other. That's how we prepared it. So how great am I, Josh?
So yeah, starting off with Garlic's 3,546 word breakdown, here is what I pulled out. The 2022 review. So I have 3 different sections in each of my reviews. I did what Jack had as his 2020 review, his overall positions, the 21 prediction, and kind of what place or where you'd finish. So the 2020 review, he likes your offseason moves of AP for essentially DJ Dallas in a 4th, as well as the Bucks defense in the offseason with Fitz, or late season. Fitz was a good signing now that he's in Washington and potentially started with all those weapons. As far as position groups go, he gave your quarterbacks an A- grade because of Fitz, Murray, and the Brady option. But age is an issue for your quarterback too. So if Murray were to go down after Brady and Fitz retire in 10 years, then you got to kind of work on that a little bit. But Murray healthy, you're good. RB, he likes guys. He said that in there, likes your guys, but not necessarily some of the situations. So Madison, Rojo, Lindsey, they're all solid running backs in Jack's eyes, but not necessarily in the best situation overall. Youth with Akers is a bright spot for the future, so you should be set there with an RB1 for the next few years. Wide receiver, top third of the league talent-wise, with Ridley as wide receiver 1 now that there's no Julio, and then Allen with Herbie Hancock at quarterback, slinging that rock. You should be solid in those top 2. Tight end, he said he needed to change pants after seeing your tight end depth. Such depth, much like Fant and Waller, could essentially be in your starting lineup each week. He says your 21 prediction set up for the future, but not a championship roster unless your rookies from this draft break out. At the time of my reading, he said you are going to get 5th or 6th place.
Aw, Jack, that's not very nice. So that's everything you got?
Yep.
Okay. For what it's worth, in the power rankings pre-rookie draft, Jack had me 9th. And then for draft grade rankings, though, he gave me an A, which was his 2nd best grade. Well, I mean, there was a lot of people that had an A, but he put me in 2nd specifically, so suck it, nerds. I probably moved up at least 1 spot in those power rankings. Moving on to Team 2, which is the Bry guy, the Skybusters, who brought us the FanTASTY Zone today. I did a little differently than Josh, so the breakdowns won't be equal, but Brian, this document will be available to you shortly, so you can read every single word. How many words was it again, Josh, for Bry guy?
Well, now that he updated the post-draft thing, I have no idea.
Well, how many words was it?
2,765.
And this was the least, Brian, so I mean, he didn't care enough about you. But anyways, he talks about your day 1 trade, because I left notes that you had taken over the team this spring from Nate, who was pretty much an inactive owner last year. I mean, he could send me a lot of hateful messages, but won't even change his lineup, so that was a weird thing. But yeah, he talked about your day 1 trade. We all kind of mocked you, the Mike Davis for Denzel Mims in your 2nd, but I mean, Falcons haven't done anything with that backfield, so I mean, today I'd say you definitely won that trade. I mean, the Falcons could still sign someone. Todd Gurley's still out there, a couple other veterans, but I mean, right now Mike Davis is looking like the starter, so you definitely have won that trade retroactively in my mind. For QB, Brian, Jack thinks this is your best position, and he gives you a B+ just from Lamar Jackson's talent alone. But Derek Carr, he doesn't think will take you anywhere, so you better pray Jackson stays healthy. Moving on to running back, he says you pretty much have a lot of no names and lottery tickets here at running back. You've got Chris Carson, but after that, it gets rough with Kenyon Drake being your 2nd best. He thinks this is your worst position group, and he gives you a C-. You need some major work in your running back room. For wide receivers, he thinks this group's a little bit better. He ends up giving you a B+ for this position rank. You have 2 solid options at the top, but after that, he worries about who you'll put into that 3rd wide receiver spot every week and who you might end up putting in your flex. So he's hoping OBJ works out for you. I believe you have OBJ, if that's correct, but Amari Cooper and Mike Evans should be fine. So it just depends on if OBJ stays healthy and stays on the field. Tight end, he gave you a C+ with hope for bigger if he thinks Jimmy Graham is Dunsky. So Big Irv Smith, he's hoping breaks out for you this year. Lastly, with your 2021 prediction from the Jack of all greats, says, for now, probably going to be tough seeing this team making the playoffs, but I could easily see you jumping from 9 up to 6 or the 7 range if you make the right drafts, or if you had the right draft or you made the right trades. I think any time a newcomer takes over a Dynasty team, I would give them the benefit of the doubt for 2 years. Beyond that, the blame goes to them. Not saying you can't build a championship squad in 2 years if you're given crap, or not saying you can build a championship squad in 2 years if you're given crap, but it's at least enough time to improve. You've already shown you're hitting the ground running with a quick trade at a position in need, and as long as you come into the draft prepared and hopefully can swing another trade or two, that will be plenty of time for you at least to play for a playoff spot. I'm pulling for you, Jack says. So, yeah. He thinks you're not going to do very well this year. So, I mean, he never put in recommendations for tanking. But, I mean, based on everything he said, how he thinks you're going to be a garbage team, if Jack were to recommend anyone tank, which I don't know if he believes in tanking, he'd probably tell you to tank. Or at least I would. So, something to think about, Bri. Anyways, Josh, that's the Bri guy. Go on to team number 3.
Team number 3, we've got Kevin. Mr. 3,036 words. 2020 review. No moves makes Jack a sad panda. Didn't make any moves, but he does like the improvement since 2018. And he said, take note, team 2. So Brian, take note. Overall position groups, QB was a solid options with hope for Tua to develop. But then you got the boomer bust with Kirk and Tanny. So I believe half of their games last season were below kind of that average threshold, the other half over. Kirk obviously finished strong. RBs, you got RB 1-2 locked with JT and Jacobs, which makes Jack smile. After that, you might hit on some of the young guys, but the situations are a bit shaky. Wide receivers, you got some high upside in Debo. Oh, it worked out this way because I wrote Debo Samuel, but isn't that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Debo, Curtis Samuel, and Cortland Sutton. Just about confused myself. Sorry, listeners. After that, so you have a strong first tier with some second tier crapshoot of about 5 guys each week. So not a bad wide receiver group. Tight end, he gave you a B+. Now, I don't know if I just missed it in your 3,500 words or Kevin's 3,036, but I did not get a letter grade for some of them. So 1 letter in 3,000 words. Got to give me a break,
Should
guys.
We fire him? Unbelievable, the inconsistencies.
But yeah, tight ends, you got a B+ due to your depth and having Gesicki. But Jonnu with Henry and Cam's passing is a bit underwhelming for a backup tight end. For his 2021 prediction, better than 5 and 8 and safe at every position with no standouts. So Jack has you flirting with a playoffs spot or 6 to 7 wins.
Excellent. And I forgot to say it for Brian, so I'll say it real quick. Brian, he had you as the bottom of his power rankings. You were dead last in 10th place. And then Brian, you got a C+, which was the 9th place for the draft grade. And then this was Kevin here. Kevin, you were ranked 7th in the power rankings. And then your draft was given a grade of an A, but that was ranked 5th. There were a bunch of A's in front of you as well. So for what it's worth, Kevin. Moving on to team number 4, we have got the Bradster, the Bradamaniac, Mr. Itchy Attack himself. What did I write down here? Well, my highlights are gone. Oh, no, I have a case of the Josh. All right, I'll just make it up as I go. Kicking off with your QB room, I like that you have multiple options. Let's see, who does Brad have in his room? He's got Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, and Joe Burrow. So you got that going for you, Bradsky. He also says for your quarterbacks, did he not give a letter grade here either? Oh, my God, Jack. The inconsistencies, I just can't handle it. Well, I guess I don't know. I'm gonna guess your running back room gets a B. I'm just gonna guess that's what Jack wanted for you, Brad. Moving on to your running backs, he feels pretty good this year, but I'm a little worried about your future. For reference, Brad has Derrick Henry, Melvin Gordon, and Leonard Fournette would probably be his 3rd best. So definitely Derrick Henry, Melvin Gordon, and Leonard Fournette, questionable futures. Did he give a letter grade here? He gave you a B. So. That's not bad. Wide receiver looks very top-heavy. Brad has DeAndre Hopkins, Brandon Cooks, Justin Jefferson, and Jarvis Landry, so I would agree that's top-heavy. So as long as those guys stay healthy for you, Brad, Jack thinks you'll do great. He gave your wide receiver group an A-. And for tight end, he Brad has Robert Tonyan, and that's pretty much it. So, Brad, you better hope that Robert Tonyan does a good thing for you this upcoming year. And I did not see a letter grade for Robert Tonyan.
A+.
There we go. That seems like, I mean, he was the tight end 3 last year. He was very touchdown dependent, touchdown Tonyan. So, I mean, if he plays, that's great. But Bradley's next best tight end is Kyle Rudolph. So, and he's on a team now with Evan Ingram. So, if you thought Kyle Rudolph was a bad fantasy option last year. Anyways, Brad, finishing off with your 2021 prediction. This team feels pretty decent across the board on paper and seems poised to compete for this year especially. There are some question marks. How will Burrow bounce back? Is Tonyan a legit tight end? Will Cooks and Fournette perform like 2020? But if things break right, you have a chance to push for top 4. Unfortunately, I just see the wheels falling off at running back in 2 years if your team stays how it is currently. And while I love your 1-2 punch at wide receiver, your quarterback, tight end, and tight end positions are not good, not elite. Reading is very hard, folks. And so I don't think that will be enough for you to overcome. I expect you to flip a win and a loss this year, assuming you remember to set your lineup and at least be 500. But you've got some work to do if you don't want to end up in the bottom couple by 2023. So, Brad, this is your year to shoot your shot, it sounds like. If not, you're doomed. Brad, you were 6th in the power rankings, and then he graded your draft with a B, and you were 6th best in the draft as well. So, good luck.
Jesse, 3,572 words to describe your dumpster fire of a team.
Oh, no.
Jack said in 2020 review that you killed the draft for the 2020 season, but no moves, none during the season was shocking. I wrote shocking, but I wanted to say shocking.
Shocking.
I was shook. And looking back, yes, Jesse did have a killer draft. CEH, Brandon Yuck, Gibson, and Claypool were his first 4 picks. So pretty solid contribution as rookies. Position groups, QB room gave you a B. Rodgers as the MVP and should continue if he does come back to play. After that, though, Wentz is shaky, but and he's not confident in his output, even if he is on a better team. I think that Wentz might have a great bounce back year with that offensive line, though, personally. That was a Josh sidebar. Running back, B- grade. Gibson and CH are solid options, and they have the plus side of being young, but beyond that, crickets. Wide receiver, A- grade. Plethora of wide receiver 2 options for the future, such as Claypool, Yuck, aforementioned. And then you also got some of those veteran locker room presences of Adam Thielen and Tyler Lockett. So you can ride them out until it's time to take them to pasture, and then Claypool and Yuck can take over. Tight end, D+ grade. I chose creative coloring words to describe kind of what I was reading in Jack's description. So dumpster fire of trash pandas. Just because Hurst and Sternberger are your top options, and well, Sternberger isn't even the top option on his mom's fantasy team.
Oh, no.
So, and then Hayden Hurst is just the worst. 21 prediction. You are 1 injury away to Rodgers or CEH, and you'll be looking at a 4-10 record. Solid draft and smart moves could mean contention versus a repeat of no moves in 2020 and sitting in the middle of the pack. So he's suggesting that you get out there, you hit the waiver wire, running, and you start picking up a bunch of dudes that are going to be dudes, you know?
Just guys being dudes, eh? So that was the Jester. Jesse, you were 8th in his pre-draft power rankings, and then he graded your draft an A+. Jesse had the best draft grade of anyone in the 2021 rookie draft. So Jesse, congrats. He thought you improved your team, but pre-draft, if your power ranking was in the 8th spot, 2021 is probably not too bright for you. Yeah. All right, we'll move on to Team 6 here, which is T, the poor bastard. He had a lights-out year, but if I remember correctly, he had just had the most points against and then had a bad game in the playoffs. So T may be a better team than how he finished. Starting with quarterbacks, T, you have Patrick Mahomes, the end, according to Jack. I have to concur. Patrick Mahomes is a lights-out option. Big Ben and Daniel Jones behind him, but you're never going to play anyone that isn't Patrick Mahomes. A+ for your quarterbacks. For running backs, T has is DeAndre Smith, Dalvin Cook, and Miles Sanders. Very, very top heavy, very lights out group of starting running backs. So Jack similarly gave you an A for your running back group. Jack, very complimentary of your team, T. For wide receivers, he thinks this room's a little balanced. It's hard to have all the star power you had in your wide receiver or in your running back room. So he's got Chris Godwin, Juju, Funchess, Crowder, Michael Gallup. So, I mean, obviously not all the star power of Dalvin Cook and DeAndre Swift, but still a pretty balanced room. He feels like there's plenty of good starters here. He gave you a B+ on your wide receivers. And then he said, finally, a decent tight end room. He said, you probably have my second favorite tight end behind Team 1, which is my team, but significantly behind. So I'm clearly the best tight end guy in the whole league, which means absolutely nothing if I can't win any games. But T, he thinks your tight end room of Tyler Higbee, George Kittle, and Adam Troutman, among others, is the best or the second best in the league. And so that group gets an A. For your 2021 prediction, T, this was, again, pre-draft, but he says, overall, I ended up liking this team a lot as I broke it down. There truly isn't a whole lot of weakness, especially in the starting lineup. You have a top 2 or 3 option at both quarterback and tight end, usually the most streamed positions, plus a top 3 RB and 2 more that could easily be top 12 this year. Same with wide receiver, where Julio was a wide receiver 1 when healthy, followed by 2 others that had down years last year, but should at least finish top 25 and have been a wide receiver 1 before that. Your depth is the only thing that isn't perfect, but honestly, besides running back, all of the positions feel fine even there. I think depending on how healthy Julio stays, and barring some big injury to one of your top options at another position, there is no reason you shouldn't compete for a title again like in 2019. And should be competitive for years to come just based off Mahomes and Kittle alone. Make sure to be ahead of the cliff for your wide receivers so you can fill in guys that drop off with new, young and upcoming talent. Someone's giving me a phone call. And this has the makings of one of the most balanced rosters. So T, he really thinks you're doing stuff. He gave you the third in the power rankings. So he thought your team was third best pre-draft, but T, your draft pick of Amari Rodgers, 6th overall, definitely had Jack questioning you. He gave your draft grade was a D, dead last in the league, T. So you've got he thinks your team was great pre-draft, but he didn't like your drafting. So that's how T's gonna do. Josh, who do we got next at Team 7?
Jalen. So we can go on to Team 8.
Oh no, Josh, be nice.
He doesn't even listen to this. I'm just kidding. Jalen. And Jalen with 3,676 words to break down. We got this. We actually pulled a quote from Jalen's from the Jack himself. I see a team that clearly enjoys trading so much, as that's what Dynasty's all about, making moves. Whether you want any of these trades remains to be seen. A couple things stuck out there. One, the Antonio Brown trade that I made with him a couple years ago. I appreciate that because that's how I got Stephon Diggs.
Jack did not mention that trade, I don't believe.
2, we'll get to my second point when you evaluate the number 10 team. But 2020 in review, the moves you made were that of a win now team. Some decent waiver wire ads with Mooney and Wilson Jr. throughout the season. So good job there. Position-wise, QBs, he gave you a B+, since no QB on your roster necessarily shines like an A player would. Age is a factor, and looking for backups now would be a priority. I forgot to write down who he has, so I'm just going to go ahead and guess Stafford and Ryan.
For what position? Sorry?
Quarterback, Jalen.
He's got Brady for sure, and I believe he has
that's right.
Brady and Stafford.
Okay. RB room, B- grade, but still concerned of it as a whole. J.K. Dobbins has that high ceiling in a run-first offense, but a lower floor than the rest might. Eckler has a lock for 20-plus touches with a high floor. After that, it is a shell of David Johnson remaining. I also made a note here that Jack is low on A.J. Dillon because of the Jones re-signing, and I just said the ignorance. Aaron Jones didn't even get the bulk of the carries last year. Wide receiver, or the bulk of the snaps, I should say. So I think A.J. Dillon's going to have a solid season because Jamal Williams had 50% of the carries, and he's in Detroit now. Wide receiver, A grade. Metcalf, Allen Robinson, third, and Will Fuller are all wide receiver ones. Fuller may struggle with Tua as quarterback, but he's still better than most wide receiver 3 options. Tight ends, he gave you a B or an incomplete grade. Hawkinson should be a top 5 tight end for years to come, but you don't have a second tight end. So there's that. 2021 predictions. Feels good about your chances this year, but an injury to Hawkinson or one of your RBs could set off the rebuild bat alarm. Retirement from David Johnson or Brady in the next few years makes running back and quarterback a priority. Be smarter with your moves. Making moves is awesome. Just make smart ones.
Just make smart ones, huh? All right, Jalen. He had you 5th in his power ranking, so right in the middle of the league, and he liked your draft 4th best. So you got a grade of an A, and you had the 4th best draft per Jack's ranking. So not bad. I mean, top 5 in both categories. So he thinks you're going places. I don't know if he thinks you're going to take the title, but he'll be up there, Jalen. Moving on to Team 8, which is the Con Mad, a.k.a. AIDS Ted himself, Connor. Starting off with the QB position, Connor has Josh Allen. And so, I mean, that's obviously a Dynasty stud. Everyone in Dynasty would love to have Josh Allen right about now. Jack is worried about your people behind Josh Allen, as I believe his second best is Drew Lock, and I haven't updated what I have on this sheet, so maybe Connor has made a move. But, I mean, Josh Allen's going to be his every week starter. He also picked up Sam Darnold as well, but he noted there's a lot of turnover in your QB room from last year. He questions dropping Jameis, but you made the move at a time when you didn't know Jameis could potentially be the Saints starter. So away she goes. He thinks your QB room is an easy A, just with Josh Allen alone. Moving on to running backs. So Jack did a review for us last year, and Jack starts out by saying, I stand by my thoughts last year of, holy hell, this is an absurdity of riches here. And for reference, Connor has Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, and Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt. So, I also have to echo a holy hell. But, Connor's had these guys, and he only has 1 championship and came in 3rd, I think, 2 years in a row. So Connor kind of stinks, but anyways, running back.
Only played 3 of the 5 too. So
exactly. Overall, I mean, he gave your running back position an A+++. So I mean, easily Connor has the best running back room in the league, but you can only play so many of them. So I mean, maybe trade someone or do something because you're not winning championships, bud. So moving on to wide receivers, Jack said he needed to take a cold shower to calm down from your wide running back room. But moving on to wide receivers, you have Cooper Kupp, T. Higgins, Kenny Golladay, and Denzel Mims. Also picked up rookie CeeDee Lamb last year, so he thinks you don't necessarily have that true top-end elite talent. But just overall a show of depth. He gives you a strong B+ for your wide receiver room, with the potential for an A- if CD improves like he expects. So CD is his candidate for being that true top end elite, but it's just not 100% proven yet. Moving on to your tight end room, you have Travis Kelce, so that's like an easy A. He covers the whole category for you. He says your only worry in the tight end room is not having really good depth behind him. Jared Cook, OJ Howard, those guys you hope are never in your starting lineup. So you get an A for having Travis Kelce, but he would implore you to maybe get a second option. Connor, your 2021 prediction pre-draft from Jack Vickers was, obviously, a season isn't won on paper, and anything can happen. See your injuries last year. But this team has to be about the strongest of any I've ever seen heading into a season just looking at it. I mean, you have the QB1 from last year, the unquestioned RB1, 3 other RBs that should all be drafted in the first round of redraft leagues, the unquestioned tight end 1, and your wide receivers are still at least middle of the pack, if not better. There really is no weakness with this team, and the depth is impressive at your running back and your wide receiver, the 2 toughest to find depth for. I think this team is a lock to finish the regular season with a top 2 record and probably most points scored, barring a crazy injury or 2. As other than health, all of your players feel very safe, aka not expecting a sudden drop-off or let-down season. Once the playoffs start, anything can happen, but if I were a betting man, I'd be shocked if I loved teen at 9 or 10 more. So Jack obviously wrote this sequentially. More than years, at least initially. No excuse not to win a ship in the next year or 2. So He really loves your team, Connor. He had you number 1 in the power rankings. So after he did grade Team 9 and grade 10, he had you number 1 in the pre-draft power rankings, and he graded your draft with a B, which is 7th overall. But I mean, a B is still a pretty good draft. You were drafting at 9th. There's only so much you can do. But yeah, he thinks you're going to be the best going into this year, Connor. So we'll see.
He said that last year too.
And look what happened, 3rd.
Hey, moving on to Derek and his whopping 4,962 second place finish of words. Are you okay over there, Wheezy?
No.
His 2020 in review, you got ripped apart with the trade of Chubb and Galladay for Green, Ingram, and Hill. There might have been more picks involved, but you got ripped apart for that. I think you also had Hunt in with Chubb and Galladay, but then you turn around with a trade that he loved in the Montgomery trade with only giving up Coleman and John Ross. You were also the first guy on the Robinson train in free agency, and you are rivaling Connor for the powerhouse or favorite team. Position-wise, QB, A+. Top option is going to be Wilson, but Herbert's nipping at his heels for the future, so you have some solid dynasty depth. That's what it's all about. RBs, B- to C. Montgomery is a stud, but Connor can be a stud or dud in Arizona, depending on how that offense shakes up. Robinson's dependent on the draft, as any player with capital will take over. The top dog in Jacksonville, and then Cohen is a solid handcuff, but the rest are irrelevant. Wide receivers, you got an A-. You got a young core with A.J. Brown and studs with Tyreek Hill and Thomas, which makes a scary starting 3. But after that, the drop-off only has some highlights with Cole Beasley and Jones. Then that's if Cole Beasley doesn't retire. Tight end, B-. Cole Kmet was consensus tight end 1 for the 2020 draft and should be a borderline tight end in the future. Other tight ends on the roster are well past their prime: Gronk, Ertz, and Ebron. Jack says Kmet could be a borderline tight end 1 near the end of the season this season. 2021 prediction: contender top 4 team. Less confident entering 2021 versus 2020, since your RB room now poses the biggest question marks without Chubb. But he expects a semifinals loss and would rather see you make moves to improve the future and running back room as opposed to getting second 3rd years in a row.
Oh no.
So I mean, I might have misread it when I was typing that up, but the way I interpreted it was he'd rather you tank than take second.
Interesting. That's a take and a half for sure. That's interesting. All right, Derek, he had you 4th overall in his power rankings, and then he graded your draft a B, but it was in 8th place, so lots of B's and A's in front of you. It's hard to do super great when you're drafting from the 9th position anyways, but that's what he gave you, was a B, which was 8th best in the league. Moving on to the last team, Josh. It's our champion team. It's bit of an arrogant guy. You want to show the kids at home the trophy again just to make yourself feel better? Or?
It's sleeping.
Oh, okay. Well, moving on to quarterback, Josh. We'll dive right in here. He likes. Oh my God, what happened? My document just went blight for a sec. There we go. All right. He said, well, this position definitely feels different than a year ago, to say the least. You lost Brees to retirement, if I remember right, but it's not like he was doing a whole lot in your fantasy team last year anyways. Also, Deshaun Watson, what the hell's going on there? He likes the fact that you're keeping the Saints bloodline alive, rostering both Jameis and Taysom Hill, but we'll just have to wait and see what shakes down. Overall, he gave you, for your quarterbacks, he would have given you a B-, but he's upgrading you to a B+ for your smart strategy of grabbing both Saints QBs, Josh. Good for you, buddy. Moving on to running backs. He says very, very strong top half at running back here, albeit with not much depth. I feel that he feels comfortable with. Josh has Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara. Joe Mixon would probably be 3rd best on that list. So he thinks your top 3 guys are great, but then Todd Gurley, Kerryon Johnson, and Devin Singletary behind it. Even if Devin Singletary is the starter, he feels that Devin Singletary has proved that he is not hot shit. But since we have to assume on your starters and we can't predict all these injuries here and there, he's going to give you an A for the starting core, but no A+ for your lack of the depth, Josh. Sorry, couldn't get that A+, buddy. Moving on to wide receiver, he says your receiver room is looking just as solid, maybe slightly less top end power, but a lot more depth. For reference, Josh has Devontae Adams, Robert Woods, Stephon Diggs, Terry McLaurin, and Kelvin Benjamin. Need I say more? Or have you dropped him?
He's a tight end.
Well, is he?
Well, he's not very tight, but he plays tight end.
Overall, he thinks your wide receivers get a solid A+. Stephon Diggs and Devontae Adams in your weekly starting lineup. That is going to be hard to compete with, and thus why Josh was a champion 1 year ago. He thinks your tight end position, having a top 4 guy, is great for you. Mandrews, it's always hard to know what's going to happen in that Baltimore passing offense, but he thinks just having Mandrews alone is good enough for a B+ grade. Hunter Henry now in New England and Oster Hooper behind that. Hard to go wrong, Josh. Your 2021 prediction. Overall, there's no reason to think this team won't be dominant again in 2021. Injuries can happen, but you are so stacked across the board that the only thing I can see derailing you is multiple injuries to 2 or more of your starting running backs and wide receivers, as you have at least 3 great options at both to cover you if just one injury were to happen. Even losing Deshaun for the year could be covered by your Jameis/Taysom stack if they pan out like I think, or by drafting a top rookie QB. Who knows what will happen in the playoffs, but this team and team number 8, I feel like the 2 safest bets to lead the league in regular season and dominate for the foreseeable future. With that being said, Josh, do you feel like your whole team is doomed now?
Yes.
Josh, in the pre-draft power rankings, he had you second, only behind Connor, and in the draft grade rankings, he gave you an A, which is best, for third, only behind Jesse and me for draft grades. So those are all the teams. A quick run through the power rankings pre-draft and then the draft grades one more time, just because we set them separately, and I'll just say them all in a row here. So the power rankings pre-draft, we had Connor, then Josh in second, T in third, fourth Derek, fifth Jalen, sixth Brad, seventh Kevin, eighth Jesse, ninth Gar, and 10th Brian. Moving on to the draft grades, though, Jesse in first with an A+, Gar in second with an A, Josh in third with an A, Jalen in fourth with an A, Kevin in fifth with an A, Brad brings us the first B in sixth, Connor has another B in seventh, Derek in eighth with a B, Brian in ninth with a C+, and then T dead last with a D. So yeah, those are all our Dynasty teams, and that was really, really loud in my ear. Josh, are you going to win this league again or what?
Well, that's the plan, just because I don't want to have to give anybody else the trophy. It looks so good on my floor.
Does it?
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, Jack, I would like to take a moment to say I do sincerely appreciate you typing all this up. I mean, it's going to be hard for podcast people to appreciate the work you put in, but the league members who get to read it will appreciate it, I'm sure, the time you took to break down their team and your thoughts, and then your post-draft grades, which we didn't even talk about. I mean, we talked about the grades, but not your thoughts, so they'll have to read the doc to get those, but appreciate you taking the time, pal. It actually does mean a lot to me, even if it's hard to convey that through a podcast. Josh, that was the whole dynasty. That was the whole Hood dynasty. In addition, I put down deflate these balls. We had restarted that last year. How do we feel after year one? Just a quick thought. How did your draft go? How do you feel going into year two?
I hate it. I mean, I hated my draft when it happened. I guess I don't know. We'll see. I started off 5-0 and I missed the playoffs, so that's fun.
Did you shed any tears?
No, it's I'm cursed. I can never make the playoffs in that league. So, yeah, I'm not crying. I'm not crying.
So I mean, the auction startup was interesting. We don't have to go too deep into it, but it's an interesting concept, and kind of the personality you are. You're kind of the guy to not overpay. You're kind of the guy to wait and hope to find value later. So, I mean, anyone who knew you at all would know that was your strategy going in. Do you feel like what your experience has been since has permanently changed if you ever went into another Dynasty startup auction draft, or you think you'd end up doing the same thing just because you don't like to overpay?
I'd probably do the same thing.
All things considered, you'd go in with the same exact strategy, eh?
Probably.
I mean, that's all right. That's the way she goes.
I'm trying to do something here. There we go. I got him.
What
is Geis?
Go ahead.
He had his charges dropped, so I added him to my roster.
You feel good about it?
No, he's not on a team, so maybe he'll get picked up by a team that needs a running back after injury. I was trying to find something since we were talking about the Hidden Oaks Overdose League.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've seen on Sleeper here, but they have the league history with our cumulative win percent records, points for, and all that jazz.
Oh, I don't think I've checked that out. No.
So we have, obviously you tanked last year, so kind of skews your overall win percentage. But
Yep.
we have, do you want to guess how many teams are over 60% win percentage?
2.
4.
I mean, that's more than I thought it would be. Since there's only 10
double
teams.
what you thought. Yeah. I was surprised too. I'm at 66. Derek's at 64. Connor and Jalen are 61. T and Brian, aka Nate, are at 51. Or did Brad take Nate's team?
No, Brian did.
Brad is at 46. Kevin's at 35. You're at 33. And then Jesse's at 28. That's 4 points. 5,675 for the top, 4,596 for the bottom. So given that this has been for 3 years, only 1,000-point difference isn't necessarily a lot, considering, I mean, well, like I said, you tanked. Oh, never mind. It's not in that order. So let's see. 4,339 is the low, and that's Kevin. But he also had 7 guys who had retired on his roster when you took it over. So
that's correct. Go ahead. Sorry.
Transactions. Which team do you think is leading in transactions?
Jalen or Derek?
How dare you? It's you.
Really? In transactions?
158 transactions over the 3 years.
Sheesh.
Coming in second is Derek with 114. Then Jalen with 104.
So, I mean, the 2 guys I picked were second and third. Not bad.
Yeah. Connor is 97. Brian, aka Nate, 84. I am tied with Bradley's team at 74. T, 49. Kevin, 60.
Jesse what is going to have
54.
7? Oh, 54? Those are probably
those are
all
draft picks.
hammer. Oh.
Draft picks.
Jesse doesn't do anything, dude. Oh, man.
He even tracks the number of messages. All-time weekly high scores. So, number 1, in 2018, week 10, I scored 236 points. 2018, week 10. 2019, week 15, Connor, 234. I'm not going to keep reading that. All-time player high scores. Elvin Kamara, 2020, week 16, championship week, 54.
Is that good?
Yeah. Tyreek Hill, 2020, week 12, 53. Yep. Just going to stop it there. Yeah. Interesting stats.
For sure. I mean, I don't even know if Sleeper existed in 2016 when we started this league, but I am definitely sad that we don't have the first 2 years in there, just because it would be cool to see like the whole length of the Dynasty League. But that's just the way she goes. So let it be known for whoever heard my 33 win percentage or whatever. My championship year is not included in that. I won the championship on Flea Flicker. Okay, so. And then Jordan won
I forgot about the Flea Flicker League.
Yeah,
I was thinking ESPN for the first one, but
no. Yep, ESPN was our first year. Then we moved to Flea Flicker, and then we were like, Flea Flicker stinks for like the user experience. It's great for commissioners. So then you had introduced us to Sleeper, and then we had we've been making love to Sleeper ever since.
I mean, they've definitely stepped their game up too.
I think Sleeper does a couple things weird, and I mean they're a small team, but I love Sleeper overall personally. So
they've got a really good support staff too. If you have questions, they'll get back to you pretty quick.
Yeah, Twitter and Brooks Brothers on Reddit's pretty good. So yeah, that's we spent a lot of time on it, but there's a lot to talk about, Josh. There's 10 teams and there's 300 players, and there's the taxi squad and a draft of 50 players. So plenty to talk about and break down. 65 pages to skim through. So let's move on here. I've got one more segment, just a real quickie. So we said we were going to do summer shows, and I don't know if you just agreed to it blindly without actually thinking about it. Do we still want to do at least one show in July? Do we want to do multiple? How are we feeling for the rest of summer? Do we just want to come back with a regular programming in August?
Well, I think that since this was a little bit shaky, we may need a little bit more reps, some practice reps before we get going in the regular season. So I guess we do have our preseason, but we need our OTAs as well.
Sure. So a little bit of training camp and yeah.
Yep. We could talk about a little quite a bit. Maybe Josh will have the motivation to actually finish what he's working on for a special project for the website, and we can discuss that. So that's probably out the door, not going to happen. But
you're raping people's ears right now, Josh.
I think we could talk about it. I think we should do at least one show in July, maybe one in July, and then kick it off with our preseason in August.
Sure. So I guess my only question for you, so obviously the show right now is pretty segmented. Like right now we've got at least we had 6 segments tonight with the intro and the outro. So I mean, are you thinking you want to do like another thing like this? Like you talked about, you could talk about your thing for the website, or do we want to do like other podcasts I like that aren't so segmented like ours would just be long form conversations about stuff. And we could just talk about, I mean, we've done a reintroduction, so it'd be silly for us to talk about each other, but we could talk about Brian or, fantasy football. I wrote down we could interview each other. Just on some deep or silly questions. To talk to you about psychology before. You have a psychology degree. Just maybe a much more long form flowing conversation versus segment here, segment there, that sort of thing. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but
I mean, not necessarily, but I do think that I'm wondering if you're going to get an email that says scam artist from a certain contributor of the Skybuster Nation. I could see it right now. Getting rid of segments after I gave you my money. Okay, I see how it is. So I'm sponsoring nothing. No, I don't know. We could talk about it.
Yeah, and the fans can let us know too in the Discord server or as a YouTube comment. Or I think by the fall won't get rid of the Facebook page, but I'm gonna stop talking about it. So Facebook's pretty much dead. Either hit us up in the email or Discord or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. The long form conversations are interesting to me, but maybe we just can't come up with a good topic that would work. But so I don't know, just something to think about, and we can talk about it, and the people listening can let us know what they'd like to hear in July. So Josh,
I feel like
go ahead,
last year, if we were to take out the 2-minute drill last year, and like obviously the Fave 5 is an outlier as well, but if we were to take out the 2-minute drill, it kind of flowed like a normal conversation for the most part.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying our podcast was bad. I was just saying maybe change it up a bit.
Hang on. Don't be hasty here. We are bad.
Well, okay. I'm not saying we're significantly worse than mediocre. How's that?
Okay.
All right, let's move into the outro, Josh. You can go back and join your wife, and so I can get everything closed down so I have time to get to Fast 9 tonight.
What time does it start? 10?
I bought my ticket. There was a 7 and a 7:30 option. I pushed it back to 7:30, but I still have stuff to do post-show, and I still have a couple of chores I have to do before I can actually leave for the movie. So,
I mean, yeah, you got to get there in time to eat your 6 buckets of popcorn before it starts.
Dude, I'm buying the biggest fucking popcorn they got, I tell you that. So any final words, Josh? I mean, we'll be back, probably mid-July, and by July we'll be talking rule changes, and end of July will be the lottery barbecue and all that. So any final words for the folks between now and like the next 3-4 weeks?
No, but just going back to your popcorn bit, just drag in a kiddie pool. Just fill her.
Fill her up, Ted. Imagine the guy's named Ted behind the counter for some reason.
And then when you reach for the popcorn, you go, "No, boy, this is the butter one. I got to go get the truck for the popcorn."
Jesus. Okay. I'll do that tonight at Fast 9. We already talked about that we will be back at least one more time in July, so probably, 2-3 weeks. We'll post on Facebook, but we really want to be moving to Discord. So, Brian, you're probably the only one I see that being an entry barrier, or a barrier to entry. Just you'll have to download the one more app, I know, but then you won't have to go on Facebook anymore. So it'll be a tit for tat.
5 total apps, Brian.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, he had to download Sleeper. He had to figure out how to draft his own players. I mean, this guy's been struggling. We have one thing to mention. We have a YouTube exclusive content. It won't be in our our audio podcast, but Jack did break down his live draft thoughts. We posted that on Monday, so if you want to go watch that, that's only on YouTube, but you can find that on our YouTube channel. HiddenOaksOverdose@gmail.com, anchor.fm/hoodpod are places you can interact with us, as well as our brand new Discord server, link in bio. HiddenOaksOverdose.com is where you can find Josh's baby. There's some league history there of our League of Record. It's not a perfect website, but we have spent, I think, a total of $26 on it in total, and that's literally just for maintaining the domain. So everything else has been free to my knowledge, unless Josh has spent some dollars, which I assume he has not. So check out Josh's baby over there, though. Yeah, I mean that's all we got. I wasn't ready for the go to sleep bit, so I now have to click on that. But Josh, I love you. We'll see you in July. And yeah,
Hope the movie's good.
join our Discord. Love you. Bye.
Esto no es Pat McAfee, pero está Red Gatorade.
You're special, Josh.
It's what my mom tells me. All right. Deuces.
Miss you already.